been on top of from the very beginning, disturbing treatment of veterans in VA hospitals. In some cases, waiting up to 21 months to see a doctor. The first case we reported on was from a hospital in Phoenix, and now CNN has learned there is another under fire. A whistleblower at a veterans hospital in San Antonio tells CNN that schedulers were, quote, cooking the books on their boss's orders, trying to hide massive wait times before some veterans could get in for treatment. This latest allegation comes as VA Chief Eric Shinseki is subpoenaed by lawmakers, being forced to answer questions about veterans who may have died while on that secret wait list, which was first reported by CNN. Now Shinseki has ordered a face-to-face audit of all veterans hospitals around the country, trying to determine if any policies have been broken. Investigative correspondent Drew Griffin first broke the story. He's tracking the story from Texas this morning. Good morning, Drew.
Carol, this nationwide review, of medical access at every single VA facility and clinic across the country is no small undertaking, and I would imagine members of Congress would say it's long overdue. And in the meantime, there are new allegations, which is why we're reporting from Texas.
San Antonio, Texas is the latest location where investigators from the VA's Office of the Inspector General are on the ground, trying to determine if managers at this sprawling VA hospital were trying to hide the fact veterans had been waiting months to get care, and if any veterans died as a result. The allegations come from this clerk who works in the hospital's medical administrative services and is speaking publicly for the first time. Brian Turner says his job is to help veterans secure appointments. He says he was told to fudge the numbers. He was to meet the VA's own national timeline goal for setting appointments. That goal, no more than 14 days from when a veteran wants an appointment called the desired date. The problem, he says, the appointment deadlines cannot be met. So he says he was instructed to simply schedule the appointment months and months in advance, while making a note that this is the veteran's desired date.
What they're saying in what we've been instructed was that they're not saying fudge, there's no secret wait list, but what they've done is come out and just say zero out that date. There's been a report the following day if someone has a wait period that's longer than the 14 days. The standard is the 1 to 14 days within the timeline of a desired date.
Irregardless of when the appointment
Doesn't matter when.
took place.
Correct.
So it could be 3 months and it looks like 14 days?
It could be 3 months and it looked like no days. It looked like they had scheduled the appointment and
so
got
fudging
exactly
the
what
books
they
is
want. That's
my.
I would call it that. You can call it that. The VA doesn't call it that. They call it zeroing out.
Zeroing out.
In a statement to CNN, the VA's Public Affairs Office says Turner's allegations were investigated and that based on our internal fact-finding conducted April 25th through 28th, we found the claims by this employee were not substantiated. But Turner questions just how much fact-finding went on. He says no one asked him about his allegations, and in fact, he says when he began emailing his concerns to other staff members, he was told to stop it.
They shut me up the very next day.
The very next day?
The very next morning I was called into an office and told not to email another person.
Turner, an Army veteran himself, has asked for whistleblower protection and became a witness in an investigation now being conducted by the VA's Office of Inspector General. The investigation focusing on delayed care, alleged falsification of records, and possible medical harm to veterans at the San Antonio, Texas VA hospital.
And while this investigation continues in Texas, it looks like the Secretary, Eric Shinseki of the VA, will go before Congress next week, but before the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, not the House. Carol?
Drew Griffin reporting. Darin Selnick is with me now. He's a retired Air Force veteran and the VA advisor for Concerned Veterans of America. Welcome, Darin.
Welcome. Thank you, Carol. Glad to be on your show.
Thanks for being with me. Your group has traveled the country talking to veterans' families about this issue. What did they tell you?
Well, you know, I have talked to, being a former VA employee, I've talked to former employees and current employees, and I got to tell you, Phoenix and Fort Collins and Austin, Texas and whatnot is not surprising because, unfortunately, I'm hearing this around the country, the same thing. And what I'm hearing from employees is that they're told not to talk to the IG, not to cooperate. So we've got a disaster on our hand, and it's widespread.
You know, we collectively celebrate our veterans. We say we care about them, and then this controversy surfaces. What does this say about how America really cares for our troops?
Well, I think America does really care for the troops, which is why we see so much outrage around the country. The problem is not Americans. The problem is a certain number of employees and incompetent management at the VA. The culture has just gone radically downhill the last 4 years. And instead of being able to meet their numbers and fix things, they're covering up and they're hiding things. And it's against the culture of the VA. It's against what we're supposed to do for veterans. And it's disgusting. And we need Shinseki to be a leader on this and not just call it a training issue all the time. Yeah, but you have expressed cautious optimism in the face of this audit of all the VA medical centers. And, you know, just explain more about why you're holding on to some reservations. Well, my skepticism on this audit is, what are they doing with this audit? Now, I've seen reports that it's really just talking to the schedulers about record keeping and policy. That's not what this audit should be. This is 1,700 facilities is a huge undertaking, and we need to make sure this is not a smoke and mirrors or whitewash. This is a true audit, but the audit needs to be who is doing the stuff illegally, who is ordering the stuff, and where is this happening? Not some smoke and mirrors record-keeping policy with schedulers who already know what to do. The problem is not with the schedulers. The problem is with management who are ordering the schedulers to do the wrong thing.
Darin Selnick, thanks for being with me, and thanks for fighting the good fight. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Anytime.